Yeah, if you've played Wii Sports, then a lot of these games are very similar. Like you start with like tennis and bowling, and then in addition, you also get like the sword fighting one, which is like Shambara, and there's also some new ones like soccer, tennis, and volleyball. So I spent as with most time in bowling, so it's fun to start off there. And basically, it feels very similar to the Wii Sports Resort version, where like you have an accurate Joy-Con that like mirrors your movement. So it's a little bit easier to aim your shots because you can use like the joystick to move back and forth, or like use like the arrow buttons, I guess, which would be Y or A, and then can like shift like your aim. So it's much easier to line up your shot. You don't have to like switch modes or anything to do it. And then they also added like a countdown timer, only to have like 15 seconds to do your aim and throw. So then you're not like wasting everybody else's time that's doing it. And bowling online is actually very intuitive the way they did it. They did like a tournament mode where you get eliminated after um, like 3 frames of bowling if you're not like in the higher scoring group. So if you're struggling, you don't have to sit there and struggle for all 10 frames. You'll just get booted and you can start another game where you might have better luck or whatnot if you can hone in on your skills. So it's pretty interesting that the way they've changed it around and made it more suitable for online play. You can start like with 16 other players, and then by the frame 10, there's only 3 or 4 players left that are competing for the actual win of that round. So that was very cool the way they have changed that up a lot. Tennis is basically very similar to what you expect on also Wii Sports Resort and Wii Sports. It's very basic, and you're just kind of swinging the racket. It does know if you're swinging it from the left or the right hand side, so then your character follows suit. Like if it's a backhand shot or like a front shot, you do signify if you're left or right handed when you're playing. So that's how it detects that. Um, it's also works very similar to badminton as well because it's very similar to tennis, obviously. And then there's like some on-screen controls that you can use for like drop shots and other customizations to hit it differently or whatever. So that's very intuitive the way they implemented those controls. Volleyball has been a very interesting one because you have to like do sets and bumps, and it's pretty much just moving the remote up or moving it in a down motion to between them. So it's kind of interesting that the way they did volleyball. So it is a lot of fun, and would still recommend it. Just definitely play through the practice rounds and pay attention to the guide that it shows the first time you boot up the game. Then for soccer is also very cool the way they did that. Like you have to have 2 Joy-Cons to actually play it. So like you can use it's primarily just using one to like kick it, and then if you are doing a headbutt kind of shot, then you have to like shake both of them at the same time. I didn't really try with the little like band that goes around your leg, so I wasn't able to thoroughly review how accurate that was to actually use like your foot for one of the Joy Cons, but it was definitely very responsive and a lot of fun. And those matches are just like 2 minutes complete for a full game of soccer. So if you don't score, it just goes into overtime until the first team that scored will win there. The sword fighting one is basically a carbon copy of the Wii Sports Resort. It's got the same kind of like the stabbing motions from side to side and diagonal and vertical, and everything works just the way it did there. They did add an option where you can use 2 swords, and pretty much both of them work the same in both hands. So like you're still able to block, and it just has to be the opposite kind of move to block it. And to get through it, you would just do the same one that they're actually blocking with. So it was really cool to see that one back. That was my favorite from Wii Sports Resort. And yeah, I pretty much spent most of the weekend just playing solo by myself, and then did a few online matches with my daughter. It was really great that you can have 2 people on the same system be playing online, and we had a lot of fun doing that. And every single week they release new outfits for your characters to where, so then you're constantly coming back to unlock them. So it's great to kind of see you get all sorts of content as the game goes on, and I have no idea if they'll repeat the items. I would assume they would have to at some point, but other than that, I would definitely recommend picking up Switch Sports if you really like the Wii Sports games.